What is good with the YouTube? It is your boy, Sean Rock to the represent MandatoryThrive HGBM, because every day it is mandatory for us to thrive. And I'm back again with another video, aka Little Nicky. And in this video, I'm going to answer a lot of questions I've been getting from a lot of people in passing. A lot of people see me doing my training, which is primarily calisthenics with a little spin of gymnastics as well as mixed martial arts. And a lot of people give me a lot of props and they have a lot of questions about how do you get started in calisthenics, what is the proper rep range for muscle mass building, what is the proper rep range for muscular endurance, what should I be focusing on first, can you build your legs with calisthenics, blah 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 blah. So I'm going to answer a multitude of these questions to try to essentially help you guys grind on your journey to being the best version of yourself with calisthenics, with bodyweight training, or just with training in general, because all of these views can be applicable to any situation. So the first question I want to answer is, how did I get started with calisthenics? Now, I've answered this question multiple times on my channel, and I've answered it in person as well, but I want to answer it again for the people that recently asked me. So I got started with calisthenics through a couple of different reasons. Number one, I was broke. Number two, I was in a different city, so I didn't have access to gyms and different things like that. And number three, I desired to focus more on movement-based training versus only aesthetics or only strength-based training. I really wanted to move my body. So, when I had my own time alone, I would go on YouTube and I discovered this group in New York. The group name was Bartenders. And what these guys were doing was they were doing like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and squats, but they were doing them with like these movement sequences in them. And it was like urban aura mixed with like strength training mixed with like military mindset type of philosophy. It was like all jam-packed in one, and I was like literally blown away. I was like, yo, what is this? So that kind of started it. That kind of sparked my interest, was like seeing bartenders, seeing all these different guys jumping on the bars, doing all these crazy significant moves. And I was like, yo, this is really interesting. I've never seen nothing like this. Then I ended up discovering this guy by the name of Juice. And he was just this big, thick dude, right? But he was just doing all these crazy push-ups. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And it all kind of came to a head for me when I discovered Hannibal for King. Hannibal for King was a guy who inspired me on the highest level, because the plushness of his moves and the beauty of his physique was just second to none. This dude was just incredible, and I knew once I seen Hannibal for King, this is what I wanted to do. So I discovered it on YouTube. I went to the park. I got some clothing from Goodwill to stay warm in the winter, and I was just banging out reps in the park in the wintertime just by myself. That's how I got started with calisthenics, and I just kept at it, stuck at it, and now I'm about 5 years in. And in this 5 years, there hasn't been a week where I've trained less than 5 times. Maybe 1 week or two, maybe I've trained 4 times, but generally every week I'm training between 5 to 7 times a week. And it's because of passion, which is the second part that I get a question from, how do I get great at calisthenics, right? Because people see me do all these fancy movements and they're really like, man, how did you get to that level? And for me, yes, I do have a genetic predisposition that I think gives me a little leverage when it comes to being able to do some calisthenics moves. I have significantly shorter legs than my upper body, which allows me to propel my body a lot easier when flipping, when tumbling. I have a definitely natural strength about me even before I worked out, so that's there. And I've also had a little bit of muscle mass even when I was younger, so I definitely feel like that's helped. But I think the main thing that's helped me excel in calisthenics, and I'm nowhere near to the level where I'm planning to go, but what's helped me get to this level, because just a few years ago I couldn't do a handstand, I couldn't do a pistol squat, I couldn't do a variety of skills. I definitely couldn't do a human flag, I couldn't do a front lever, none of this stuff that I'm able to do today. But I say the main thing is passion. I'm legitimately probably, calisthenics is probably one of the most things that I'm passionate about in my life. No holds barred. I love calisthenics. Calisthenics has made multitude of transitions in my life super easy, super simple, because I had calisthenics to just really be there, to just focus on. It's given me a laser-like focus. It's inspired me. It continues to challenge me. It continues to surprise me. So passion. When you whatever type of training modality that you want to essentially be a part of, you gotta be passionate about it, right? Like if you're gonna do traditional weightlifting, you gotta be passionate about it. If you're gonna do bodybuilding, you gotta be passionate about it. If you're gonna do powerlifting, you gotta be passionate about it, right? If you're going to do be a yoga guy, you gotta be passionate about it. If you're gonna do calisthenics, you gotta be passionate about it. Passion bust pipes. Passion will push you past your pain. Passion will push you past soreness. When I started calisthenics, I used to be so freaking sore. It was ridiculous. But I still was training a lot of times. Whether I had to switch up what I was working on, I was always working on something with calisthenics because I was super passionate about it. So the number one tip to get really great at something or get great at calisthenics is going to be passion. I got a question as well about rep ranges. A lot of people keep asking me about rep ranges. I got a question on my YouTube page about this, but I also got a question in the gym. And when people ask me this, it's really hard to give a direct answer because the rep range is going to be determined by your goals, your body weight, and your skill level. Like how strong are you, right? But generally speaking, there is general rep ranges specific for particular goals, right? You have the 1 to 6 rep range, which would be more in the max strength power era of things, and then you have 8 to 12, which typically you can extend it from 8 to 12 to pretty much 8 to 20, but I'm just going, for the sake of this video, we're going to keep it from 8 to 12. You have 8 to 12 rep range, which is pretty good for hypertrophy, muscle mass building, and some strength. And then you have 12 to 50, which I would consider high endurance work rep ranges. Now, within all of these rep ranges, there's a lot of crossover in each one of them. And I also believe that it's according to your style, according to your frame, according to how your body responds. Me personally, I do all the rep ranges, but in the beginning, I stuck between 8 and 12 reps most times, because at the beginning of my training, I was focused more so on muscle size over muscle strength or muscle endurance. My primary goal in the beginning of my training was muscle size. And when you're focusing on muscle size, you want to go with the rep range that seems to be most optimal with hypertrophy, which is 8 to 12. Now, people will say, well, if you're doing calisthenics, doesn't it get easier doing 8 to 12 reps? Yes, it does get easier. It gets some moves is automatically easy to do 8 to 12 reps on because the moves are just easy. But what you do is you create tension, right? You slow the reps down, you speed the reps up. When you create tension, you make the moves harder. You slow the reps down until you feel yourself fatiguing before you get to the top of that rep range. So you can always do this. Even staying at 8 to 12 rep range, you can still do this. Or the way I like to do it as well is by increasing the sets, the number or amount of sets that I do. So with each set, you're fatiguing and breaking down the muscle fibers a lot more. And the thing with the reason why I feel like this method was better than increasing the reps, which I will talk about that, is because when you increase the rep, it does lend, in my personal opinion, from my experience, it lends a little bit more to muscular endurance, and it makes it a little, even though you build muscle in those higher rep ranges, when it lends to muscular endurance, you're making it difficult for yourself to have to increase reps more and more and more and more and more. So you're still gonna build muscle this way, but you're just making it harder on yourself because you're gonna have to increase the reps a lot faster than learning how to keep the rep ranges similar and increasing the sets, or increasing the tension, or increasing both. I feel like that's a more optimal way to get where you're trying to go if you're using body weight than just increasing the reps, because it's going to keep coming up. Whenever I've done that in the past, that's what I noticed. Like when I start doing like 40 reps, 50 reps, 60 reps per set, I noticed that I was still building muscle in a similar way, but it was very, very quick where I needed to like